4 minutes before 1 o'clock, and it's time for Hustle Hard with George Billionaire. How are you, George Billionaire?
Holla holla, it's your boy George Billionaire with none other, the amazing ladies here on Capital 100.4 FM. The hype and the vibe in the studio. I wish people wherever you are could see how dressed these ladies are and you could just feel the vibe in the studio. As always, Monday is here and there's so much to talk about what's happening on the weekend. There was beautiful soccer from the European. A lot of people are happy with what's happening in Europe as competitive soccer is going across, but more so in the local league. We're seeing a lot of very, very competitive first seven games that have been played, and the soccer fraternity is back, and it's making a lot of people travel far and wide to go and support their teams. So much is happening in Zim and the soccer fraternity, but also so much is happening in the world. And as we speak every single Monday, we are here on Hustle Hard to speak about what it is that we can deliberately do that can change and impact our lives. Now, we are here to provoke, to inspire, to equip you. We are in the fourth month of the year. And if you began the year doing the same things and you're expecting different results, whilst we are still in the fourth month, you may need to look back and strategize and see what best you can do so that your year does not just end another year that just ends the same way it started in the past couple of years. So we're here to give you some insights, some knowledge from some of the experiences I have met, from some of the mentorship that I've received, from some of the wisdom that I've acquired over the years, so that we can help each other to become ultimately what God purposed us to be. One thing that I know is certain is that people are not happy where they are. But one thing that I can guarantee you, until you decide to make a deliberate, conscious step and move, your life will remain where it is. I reiterate this over and over again. There's no government that is going to come and help you. There's no rich auntie, rich uncle, rich father. No institution will come and help you until you personally decide to say, I must certainly do something so that my life can change.
When you kept talking about the rich, I thought you were going to say there's no rich George who's going to come and help you.
Yeah.
I would have said, no, Rich George is there.
He's going to help you.
Me.
I think what the best help that I'm doing to people that we've been doing here on this program for the past 4 years is giving people this information, because money can be given, but if you don't know what to do with it, you'll just be like the prodigal son and you will misuse money. But information that we're getting here certainly will transform mindsets, which ultimately will result in money in your pocket that will feed your family and many generations to come. So the best thing that I am doing is giving this time to people so that they can be transformed by renewing their mindset, so that they can understand this very simple fact that as much as we may murmur and complain, that will never bring money to our pockets. But until we deliberately say we must take action, we must do something. And I love the Bible so much. And do business until I come. Do mashoko akatorwa na Jesu achienda. Kuti itai something nemaoko enyu. Do something in the name of business until I come back. So if we're not doing any business, I can guarantee you we're going to be at the same place. We're going to be looking forward to the next elections. But I can tell you the elections are not going to change your financial position. The only thing that's going to change your financial position is not politics, is not a bank loan, is not anything else. But you saying to yourself, okay, what problem can I solve and what solution can I be to this current world that I am living in today?
Awesome. So today we want to talk about something really interesting. Lying.
Thank you. You were saying?
I was saying Mondays are good. And today we want to talk about something really interesting. We want to discuss something. We want to talk about retirement plan. I know you're always talking about how important it is to plan ahead, how important to have a side hustle, how important to have, an extra stream of income. But rarely do we talk about the importance of then preparing for the time that you can no longer work. So maybe if you can help us how then one can come up with a retirement plan.
Well, so retirement is something that a lot of people look forward to. But I think in many areas, especially in Africa, you find that the money that people end up getting compared to what they used to make is totally different. So there's going to be a serious lifestyle shift because people who used to earn X amount now don't get that. They get a certain percentage. So for me, I don't know why people want to wait for retirement plan when they can actually create something now that can actually take care of them without them having now to wake up every single day. So, on this program, my biggest drive is really to urge people, why wait until you get fired or until you are of age for you to start thinking about an alternative stream of income when right now, when you are well and able, you are waking up, going to work to provide a service for somebody who gives you a salary in return. Why not start something that can cater for you later? Now, there are many who say, no, I'm putting my, pension aside. That's great. But pension alone, similar to your salary, will never take care of all your needs, especially when you are now retired, because there's a certain lifestyle you need to maintain. People get very carried away with the benefits of working in institutions. Because there are many people here who work for corporate organizations who don't actually know the price of fuel. They get coupons. Who don't actually know the cost of medical aid. They don't know the cost of so many things. Most of the things are paid for them. But until that time comes where there's no benefit of such, that's when reality will kick in. And that's when you'll say, yeah, okay, $100 fuel is only 50 liters of fuel. And that doesn't last me this long. When you're paying it for yourself, that's when you see you need to really get a rude awakening about life. So preparing for retirement is not the best thing. You need to, especially in this modern day and age, prepare for what's going to happen very soon. I think we've spoken about it before, how artificial intelligence, retirement age is going to come down drastically because the work culture is going to require younger and younger people. You're going to see it happening very soon. So imagine, right now it's at 70 years old, right? Think about it, to be very honest and just. 70-year-old people in terms of productivity, what are they really doing, especially in this modern day age of work culture that cannot be done by a 25, 30-year-old somebody? So it's a shift of mindset that we need to really come up with to say, let's not prepare for pensions because pensions are not going to be the thing that will sustain us in future. Let's prepare something in the form of a business, in the form of something that creates income for you, that will take care of you. Because if we don't do that, pension alone, I can guarantee you, is not going to take care of you alone.
Okay. You know how sometimes, more often than not, you're in a space where you're like, I'm working for the fees. I mean, if I'm getting the benefits, like you're saying, fuel, medical aid, funeral policy, all that. Now, thinking of coming up with something, what strategies do you think one can actually engage in, like in coming up with a plan? That plan of a business that will sustain them. Because at 70, you're probably not able to wake up at 5, 6 a.m. like you today.
Yeah.
To go and do deliveries, to go and showcase your stuff and all that. How then do you think someone can come up with a plan, a business plan, right? That will last in too much.
Yeah, I've always said this to people, that people are sitting on top of their treasure, on top of their gold mines, but they don't realize it because they have been programmed. Their minds have been told that you are only an 8 to 5 person and you can only work for people. That's majority of people listening to us now, because they say, no, I can't be an entrepreneur. But you find somebody has told Noma, hi Noma, you're such an amazing consultant. You should actually try this out. But because Noma is stuck to the 8 to 5, she thinks, no. And she's only stuck with one organization. So there are many people who already, some of the things you've been complimented are potential business ideas. But because you brush them off, because from a young age you were told you go to school, get a degree, work for 20, 30 years of your life, then you retire, you get a bicycle and a 32-inch TV and $500 as a package, which sounds very off, but it's reality, because it's not much that people get when they actually do get a pension. It's not much, you see. So imagine after all that time, people just need to say to themselves, what is it around me that that I've worked in this institution for so long now that I can actually use, that people can pay me directly into my pocket. Now, I think I've done it with you ladies here, and thank God all of the ladies in here have a side hustle that they've begun, because I just can't introduce you as somebody who works somewhere, because there's no direct benefit that will come from my network of people. I need to introduce you, and at least people need to be like, oh, right, she's the one who does emceeing events. Oh, right, oh, she's got a consultancy firm. Oh, she does makeup on the side and etc. But as long as you are an 8 to 5 person, imagine, how do I refer somebody to you that will make money directly come into your pocket? And that's where people really need to look at that. With where we're going, you need to be able to recommend somebody so that money comes directly into their pockets. There are many listening today who have worked for various organizations. And the only thing I can talk about is, hi, this is George. He works at Pro Air. The only thing that person can help to support George is through Pro Air. It doesn't go directly into George's pocket. It will come as a salary into his pocket. But no, if this is this person who is running their own institution, that money directly comes into that person's pocket. So we need to, as people, I keep reiterating and emphasizing on this. Planning for retirement, I can tell you, is something that is going to really deter you, because the money that you get out of retirement is not going to be something that's going to sustain you for a year or two. And this is why most people, after they retire, you see, that's why there's a very short lifespan, because these people, all they did their whole life was wake up 8 to 5, and now they're stuck at home. And what are they doing? All the money that they're going to get at the bank every month is just being consumed, and that's it. And now your lifestyle has to be shrinked, because you can't travel like you used to, because before you were catered for. Now some of that money has to personally pay for some of those things. So it's not preparation for retirement that I urge people to do. It's prepare for the lifestyle that you are currently living, and how to maintain it and actually improve it by the streams of income that you would have created. So I think this question most people would ask is, George, what business idea can I start? What can I do? It goes back to the same thing that I say. If you see the many problems in our amazing, beautiful country, just like anywhere else, stick to one thing that provides a solution and be known for that, such that when something in that regard comes, people remember you for that, and you also deliver. And do you need startup capital? We addressed this the last time. It's not startup capital you need, because some of the businesses that are there, some can get paid in advance, some you can get something from somewhere, deliver, and then get paid. So capital is not the only thing that's needed. It's just the idea. Because in a life of business, this is what they say, money follows an idea. So if you do not have an idea, you can never become a business person. But until you have an idea of saying, listen, I want to be the biggest supplier of Maputi, of popcorn in Harare, and you go and start that, there's nothing that's new under the sun. Please remember that. No business has not been done yet. But all you do is you stick in that trade, you follow your gut, and you make sure you market it aggressively. And sooner than later, you will become the most preferred person in that specific thing that you are doing. And you'll end up making money whilst you're sitting at home.
Is there anything called retirement, honestly, for an entrepreneur like me? How long is it going to take for me? How long can it take for me to then say, I think now I can retire? Is it even an issue of of years here or how much I've made.
You see, so this is the cultural thing in Africa, right? In Africa, right, you retire at the age of 70 because you've been working for 30 years of your life. And then there are entrepreneurs who retire at 45 because now they've created structure in their business, right? Like some of the entrepreneurs we know in the country, right? They're not even staying in the country of Zimbabwe, but their businesses are being run. They're retiring to focus on other business ventures, right? But with us, in preparation for that time where things are not going to be okay, because retirement is having put money for all these years. And imagine the money you're putting in your retirement plan. Why didn't you gather that up and start a business which doesn't have to pay you at the end of every month, which can pay you each and every other day because you've created something? So again, it's a mindset shift that people need to create, because there's no retirement plan that has helped people except back in the day, right, when there was structure and all this. But now, if you look at with most organizations, there are not many people who work for 20 years in one organization. Gone are those days. Nowadays, it's 2-3 years, gone. 2-3 years, gone. And for you to continue that plan with the same organization, it's different. Because if we look at it, how many people actually have retirement pension funds that actually are they're being submitted to? So retirement is a mindset that was given to us by others, but here, where we are and where we operate from, we need to be very practical and realistic, because yes, there is something called a retirement plan, but if you ask those who are retired, if they are, my own father is retired, and I know how much he gets, and compared to what he used to earn when he was able and working, it's far different. I mean, it will get you here and there, but he can't be able to do the many things that he would want to do. So all it is just a cushioning allowance for those who have become of age. But otherwise, for us who still have that vibrance to go out and work, I would highly recommend that we come up and start a business. And these young ages that we have, we will use our energy to create as much as we can so that our businesses are able to take care of us and we don't just rely on what is called a pension fund or retirement money.
So in essence, retirement is supposed to be, when you retire, you're supposed to still be able to live the life that you were living.
The essence of retirement is to cushion you, right, on just your living expense. Because remember, like I've said, most people who go to work and are catered for in all regard, in terms of fuel, medical aid, all these other school fees, allowance and everything, the moment people get of age, all that is taken away. And that's where
I never understand that part.
And that's where real reality, because an organization can't take care of your other needs after you have come of age.
But they
They
don't
can't.
also consider, imagine you're taking your kids to like a very inexpensive school, then you are of age, quite.
That's why you should listen to Hustle Hard.
Now you have to remove your kids from Peter House to Karigamombe Primary School. That messes with children's mental, honestly.
This is why it's important, like we keep saying,
To listen.
do not rely on one stream of income, because if you do, the day that organization, thank God if you work until the company is still functional. What if the company decides to liquidate and your child is in grade 2 and they allow you to take 2 kids to school? How then are you going to, imagine you have 5, how are you going to cater for all the others when you leave that organization because it was taking good care of you, and then you find another job elsewhere where there are no benefits? It's just a salary nje, nothing else. Hakuna imwe mari inopiwa. How are you going to survive? This is why my serious plea to people out there is, do not wait until you get that letter that thank you for your service. Do not wait until you are of age to now start thinking, but I should have really started and saved some of my money and put a little on a little so that it would become much. But most of us, as we listen to this program, are just consumers. We think it's very far from us. But what we don't realize is that the clock is ticking, right? You don't know what tomorrow holds. there will be a change in a statutory instrument, which means your business is going to be totally cut off, which means all the employees are gone. How are you then going to survive when you were only relying on your JOB?
Just overly broke.
Yeah.
Just overly broke.
No, I think, sometimes the truth hurts, but it's the truth. And as many people say, George, not all of us can be entrepreneurs. It's very true. But the word of God also goes on to say, the poor you will always have. So in this life, the life we live is according to the choices we make. And we can choose the life that is easy now, and then we are going to live a very hard life tomorrow. Or we can choose what is hard now, which most entrepreneurs and people who started business do. And that journey, the entrepreneurship, it's not an easy journey. It's not for the light. Yeah, no. You are faint-hearted. It's not for you. Stay where you are. But I can tell you the benefits are way more than those of just being on the JOB. But the mountain you climb, it's not an easy climb. But when you finally get to the top, you'll appreciate what you know what, thank God I started many years back. Because now, Dane a different life compared to the peers you used to grow up with, who you see are still at the same place, because they also believed they are entrepreneurship, and that's why they kept earning that $200 a month, and their lifestyle never changed. But you who began your business, now you earn 4 or 5 times that after 5-6 years of working hard on that craft, and your lives are totally different. Saka upenyu unoenderana ne my choices I will not make. If you make the right choices, which sometimes are hard now, you'll see when you're of age, you're living a good life. And I've seen, people of other color. If you see people of other color, their lifestyle has never changed. But with us, and they live long. But when you see us, who had not planned for what's going to happen after work, they die quickly soon after retirement. Why? Because there's a shock. You don't have finances. You don't have a plan. And reality sinks in because now you've got pressure because your kids who you were taking to those schools, now you're getting letters on end on please pay fees. Otherwise, we won't let your child in the class. And that trauma alone, you don't want to start facing that when it's too late. Because surely things will not go well with you when you fail to plan now for your future, for tomorrow.
Nice. Very deep. And also, your closing remarks?
Right, so I say every Monday is a time to recharge, and we need to apply some of these things. I know a lot of people are really thinking wherever you are, driving, listening to us from, but you must make some certain deliberate steps, because don't wait for a letter that's going to say thank you for your services for you to start planning about your future. Because where you are today is not necessarily where you're going to end your life. There's so many opportunities out there. There's so many problems that we are all created to solve. I was sent here to create a problem of air conditioning. And had I not started, a lot of people wouldn't be supporting us. So there's so many things that you are holding back and not starting that people can actually support you. But you will never know until you actually walk towards that door. And when it opens, you'll be surprised. Things are going well. So to everybody listening, let's not hold back. Let's make a plan now whilst we still have time, rather than waiting for our pension to sustain the lifestyle that we all know that pension money will not certainly sustain.
All right, that's all we had today on Hustle Hard. Thank you so much, George.